You record?
And I was going to go get a PA system, but they won't let us use it in here. So I'm just going to do my best to shout. And if you need something repeated, you know, call it out and I'll repeat it.
What?
So what we're going to do in the next half an hour, we're basically 35 minutes, is the following. I'm going to bloviate on for the first 15 to 20 minutes at the most. And I'm going to thank a few people to start with. I'm going to share with you some ideas about what I think makes Bert Flinn Park special and why it's so important to our quality of life as a community. I want to get into the threat before us, our quality of life in the park, which is the city's plan to run a high-traffic expressway right through the heart of Bert Flinn Park to a big new development and worsen traffic on Ioko Road at the same time while pretending to improve it. Okay? So that's what's in the offing. I'm going to explain how I think the city's posing us with a fake either-or, having to choose between the park and Ioko Road. I don't buy it for a minute. And I'm going to suggest some things that they can and should be considering as steps to address traffic on Ioko Road, and doing that without sacrificing the park. So at that point, it's going to be like 20 minutes in. I'm going to invite any supportive counselors who might be in the neighborhood to speak up. Just before they come into the council meeting. There's a city council meeting tonight at 7 o'clock behind these doors. That's why this rally is here, why it's so important. I have a feeling they have just come from a discussion about the lands. It's just intuition. And I want us to be present when they open the doors and see another point of view. Okay? So at 6:50, I'm going to invite you, or as many of you as we can squeeze into the theater, to join me and moving from the Galleria into the theater, where I'm going to ask for just 2 minutes to address the council. That's all we're allowed at this public meeting this time. But it's going to set the stage. I'm going to introduce you as a group, and I'm going to introduce the petition and all that. Speak up, please. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'll do my best. It's I don't have the loudest voice. But this I can say loud and clear. After I do my 2-minute bit in front of the council, those of us who are inclined are all going to go over to Brown's Social House and raise a toast to Bert Flinn Park together, just to get to know each other, okay? So that's sort of the agenda for the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to start. If Bert Flinn Park could be here, I know it would welcome all of you as its new best friends, okay? And it's not here, so I'm going to thank you and welcome you to the rally. First of all, thank you all for getting the word out to bring us together in just 10 days. We only had 10 days to bring us together. Thank you for being one of the nearly now, what was the number? When I last checked before I raced for my laptop a few minutes ago, we were at 1,258 people have joined the petition. That is something like 18% of all the people who voted for it in the mayor's race last time. Wow. You guys have more muscle than you may think. That's a huge number. We got that together. You guys came and added your names in just 10 days. And we're just starting. We're going to run this petition through much of the summer. And who knows, we'll get to half the population before we're done. So I also want to thank Bunsen Burners, the excellent running group, the Cyclers of Torca, which is the Off-Road Cycling Association, the Runners Den, and sort of all the shops who helped us put up announcements and get the word out. I also want to thank some particularly amazing volunteers who are out there canvassing the park and the neighborhoods, printing and posting signs, writing the city council, very important. You all really need to write the city council. They will actually feel obliged to answer every one of your notes. So you need to get on this. And I want to give some special call-outs out. I want to call out to Rob Collins, Linda Hellman, Scott McIntyre, Kathy Morton, Jonathan Kang, Sarah Ronald, Carmen Richter, Rod Archibald, Megan Willie, Ian Sutar, Emily Cito, David Tang, Jennifer Yellen, James Zhao, Betty Lee, Sue Round. It's like the Academy Awards. But my point in mentioning this is these people sort of immediately sort of took the reins, said we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You know, Rob Collins designed this great poster. You know, a bunch of you have been out sort of getting the word around. It's been amazing. I want to emphasize, if you ever thought this was just like an organization of one, because the media keeps like doing close-ups on me, it's you guys. So thank you. I just want to thank the news media who've been really following us, and it means that they take you and this issue seriously. And I want to thank you for coming to this rally, despite threat of rain. I know you've made sacrifices to get here, and I think I know why you've made sacrifices to get here, and that's what we need to talk about. I'm sure many of you lived here a longer time, but I've lived in Port Moody on the North Shore for several years now, in the April Road area, just up off Ioka Road. I moved here with my partner Marcus and our dog Tashi from Vancouver, downtown Vancouver. And we moved because Port Moody offers a better quality of life. And we like everything about it. And one of the things we like best about it is that we are just steps from a very special place in this part of the greater Vancouver area. That place is Bert Flinn Park. Bert Flinn, for those who don't already know, is Port Moody's largest city park. It is its only real nature park. And what's a nature park? I mean, a city park is a park where there are swing sets and picnic tables and outhouses, and it's all kind of focused on humans. A nature park is a place where you go you're just a guest, and you're there to watch nature do its thing. That's what a nature park should be. This park, because it's 311 acres, means it's just big enough, it's not huge, but it's just big enough to support a really diverse ecosystem that includes everything from bear and cougar, I don't recommend introductions, a bobcat, lynx, there are deer there, of course, and there are also endangered species there, like the red-legged frog in the wetlands on the north side of the park. So this is a remarkable sort of little haven or refuge for nature. It also has hugely popular uses. So, like, who here has ever run or jogged in Bert Flinn Park by show of hands? So nobody likes that. And then, who here has done a hike through the park just to be there? Who has done non-biking?
All right.
Who are families with kids, and you just bring your kids into the park?
Yeah.
Who has teens at home who actually walk to school through the park? A number. Who has a dog and walks their dog?
There they are.
Did I miss anything? Or is there any other activity I should have missed besides teens making out in the park? Okay.
Bird watching.
Bird watching.
Oh.
Yeah, beautiful example. Yeah, there's some amazing woodpeckers. Sorry?
Yes. Geocaching.
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 Yeah.
Yes? Okay. What anything else? And then we'll be done with this section. Yeah. Okay, we're good. So a lot of different activities. What amazed me when I got to Bert Flinn Park is to realize there are 5 different communities around it who all get to walk into the park. You don't have to drive to the park for these people, these communities. You can literally walk in from all directions, which makes it a refuge you can go to pretty much every day. So what I think is most unique about Port Moody's Bert Flinn Park is, among all the parks, it's the one that offers the most quiet tranquility. It's sort of a place where you can find solitude. If you go into the middle of the park, you will not hear much except for the birds and the breeze and the occasional train in the distance. So it's a momentary refuge from modern life for us bipeds. And it's at our footsteps, it's sort of at our footsteps every day.
We got the...
Yeah, thanks. So now we know the North Shore is going to continue to develop around Bert Flinn Park in coming years. There's not much we can't do to stop that, or maybe should do, I don't know. But we would be wise about protecting our quality of life as this happens. And Bert Flinn Park is always going to be there for us, our children, their children, as this quiet refuge if we remember that this is core to one of the things that makes Port Moody a wonderful zone that we cannot give up. It is arisen right now. This is your moment, citizens. This is your moment to draw a line around this special place for future generations. That's why we love Bert Flinn Park. It's the centerpiece of our local life. That's why we want to protect it. And that's why we should all be so pissed off, as I was, and a handful of others were who started this group. Most of us living along or just off Ioko Road got really pissed off last summer when we heard that our city leaders were proposing to ram a high-traffic expressway into the park, spanning the entire breadth of the park from the east side to the west side, with a big auto bridge practically over the heads of the Madsen Creek hatchery and delicate, pristine watershed that feeds it. And the front man for this development, James Chang, who's a nice man and a good architect and really good at his job, explained to the public at various public meetings that according to his traffic analysis, the roadway through the park will be about 80 to 90% as busy as Ioko Road is today. This was supposed to be a good thing. So does this piss you off?
Yeah.
Okay. So one reason it pisses me off is that the city is going back in this action. The city is actually going back an original understanding with the people of Port Moody that arose at the time we created the park. Remember when they were going to turn neighborhoods 3 and 4 into sort of cheap by jowl suburban development? It's going to be as tightly packed as the other communities like Heritage Woods, Heritage Mountain. Up that hillside is going to be, as you came down one of the roads from the south into the valley, it would have been wall-to-wall houses all the way across the view of Port Moody. So various heroes among the citizens here started an initiative to say, hell no, we're not going to do that. We're going to preserve some green space. Then a discussion ensued, and the city agreed, well, then you need to agree that we are going to densify the urban core. Okay? We're going to move forward on projects, akin to Newport Village and Sutterbrook and other areas. Our strategy is to keep the green space, for example, North Shore, and put the density in the city center. Now, what's happening is that the City Hall is tempted, of course, by new development dollars, to go back in that agreement and build up North Shore density as well. And they even look like they're willing to compromise the one big patch of green space that we had traded for all this by putting a road through that would effectively ruin it as a nature park. So we're reassured by Mr. Chang, who's rushed forward to say, yes, well, it will be a high-traffic expressway, but don't worry. We're going to put wildlife underpasses at certain places. And he said recently, and this is because of the pressure of this group, by the way, he said, well, people are concerned about the off-leash area, so we've moved the expressway to the side of it. So you can still let your kids and your puppies run in an off-leash area right next to the expressway. So, that this seems bizarre, yet this doesn't seem so bizarre to people, surprises me. And I guess the close analogy is it is no more desirable to do that than it would be if the developer came to us and said, we have a great idea. We want to build a jet runway right through the middle of Bert Flinn Park. Don't worry, we'll have wildlife underpasses under the runway, and your kids can play right next to the runway. So the problem with that is you go, yeah, but it's still going to be really loud and noisy and smelly and dangerous, and it's going to completely change the character of the park. That's the problem. Elaine Golds, I was talking to Elaine Golds. I don't know if you know, she's a wonderful environmentalist to whom we owe a lot of thanks for many things, including her activism for the wetlands of Bert Flinn Park 20 years ago. And her comment to me was, basically, this road is going to drive a stake right through the heart of this park. And I think that says it pretty well. So it seems like a bad idea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So then, okay, if this is such an obviously bad idea, how do you convince a community to accept an obviously bad idea like the road through the park? Well, this is what some on the council are saying. First of all, they have two answers. First of all, they say, sorry, too late. We already decided this question 20 years ago when we left a little strip of land through the middle of the park. The public heard some discussion of it, but when I read the referendum some time ago, and it never really asked about the road. It showed two maps, and it really neglected to point out the strip in between. So my attitude about that, especially as a newcomer, is, frankly, a lot of bad decisions were made 20 years ago, and this is one of them. And just the fact that a strip of land was technically allocated doesn't mean we should live with that. Second of all, they say, okay, well, it's not too late, at least it's too bad. They say, the choice, that it's too bad that we have to do this, but we have to choose between the park and Ioko traffic. Traffic's going to go up on Ioko Road, and the only solution is to put a road through the park. So what they're doing, actually, is trying to put us as a community on the horns of a false dilemma. Okay. I live just off Ioko Road, as I said, and I know the traffic there is getting bad, and I'm one of the people who wants to see it addressed, okay? But the trade-off that they're making is just bogus. We are working, our group is going to work with other community groups to identify more sensible, balanced solutions that will protect the park and reduce traffic in the Ioko Road area. David Stewart, who many of you may know, is the leader of the Pleasant Side Community Association, actually sits on our steering committee. So we're going to work this out together, and we're not going to let two groups of people, those who love the park and those who want Ioko Road traffic addressed, we're not going to let them divide us and turn it into kind of a Hatfield-McCoy thing. That isn't going to happen. We're going to find solutions together that preserve our quality of life in both respects. Okay. So, what are some smart ideas that don't seem to be coming up for discussion much, but that could make a difference to Ioko Road traffic, as well as protect the park? We've just begun to ideate around this, but I'm going to throw 5 promising ideas out at you, and I want you to think about them, and then I want you to get back to us with other great ideas in this regard. Now, I know that the first recommendation some people would make, the first right idea, would say, well, hell, just say no to the development being proposed by the Brilliant Circle Group for the Ioko lands. I totally understand that sentiment. In an ideal world, I would agree. But in terms of just go away, but let's help the developer out. Number one, let's tell the developer, as a community, good news. You can save somewhere between $25 and $35 million because you do not have to build that road through the park and that $15 to $20 million bridge over the Madsen Creek Catchery. Now, here's why this is important. if they don't have to spend that high, it's the city who's told them they have to put the road through. And Cheng told me personally, said, it's not my idea. I've been told I can't develop unless I put this road through and I fund it. So, so the idea would be to say, keep your money, but there's a trade-off. And the trade-off is you have to live by the low-density zoning of IOCO lands as it stands today. Right now, the lands have the lowest density possible zoning. It's really just single-family homes, well scattered, observing all the difficulties of that terrain. It's a very difficult terrain to build on. So now the good news is when you don't spend that money, you can put part of it to your bottom line. And when you put that to your bottom line, it means you don't have to build such a dense development in order to make your profit. You don't have to be begging the council to increase the density zoning to medium density, which is what they want, to put in all sorts of new things that will generate extra money for them. We'll also bring new cars in and send them right down IOCO Road. So if you want to minimize traffic on IOCO Road, tell the council you want them to respect the existing zoning for low-density development and not be persuaded or bewitched by the developer's effort to show you all the great things that can be done at the end of IOCO Road that will involve a ton of traffic. Third, so after giving their money back on the road, respect the existing zoning. Third, ask Anmore to step up. Tell the developer to go work directly with Anmore to identify and fund a sensible, less costly connector road solution to what is primarily Anmore's traffic problem. It's a solution, it has to be a solution that does not require that Port Moody sacrifice the integrity of its largest and most natural park. Anmore citizens, there are many Anmore citizens who are part of this Save Bert Flinn Park movement. I run into them all the time. And wonderful folks who love the park. They don't want to see it go either. Now it's up to Anmore's leaders to stop being so quiet on this issue and step up to the plate with a responsible traffic solution of their own. And all you have to do, I'm not going to get into the details, go take a look at a map and take a look at roads that could be connected by short, inexpensive connectors that could move the Anmore traffic from the west side to the east side and back. It's not hard to figure out. It's just not on the table yet because Anmore has not been invited really into this conversation. Fourth, develop developer-funded public transit. So they are going to add density at the end of IOCO Road in the IOCO lands, if they develop, even if they're living by the lowest density rules. There's going to be more traffic. It's up to them in that case to be funding the creation of significant public transit along IOCO Road. So you replace a crowd of cars with a handful of buses that work frequently and move people easily from IOCO lands, down IOCO Road, into the downtown and the Evergreen line. They should be paying for a haul fleet. And they should be supporting things like ride-sharing facilities, that kind of thing. Fifth, there should be developer-funded IOCO road improvements. Now, no matter what we do, unless we privatize IOCO Road and close it to any but local traffic, the brute fact is that many Anmore people and most IOCO lands people who are south of them are still going to choose IOCO Road as their shortest, easiest way into town. They're not going to be driving the opposite direction and going up the hill, even if they built the corridor through the park. It would siphon off some traffic, but let's have no illusions about the fact that the traffic is going to stay strong on IOCO Road and get worse because of their development. So, to the extent that's the case, they owe us a major investment in making IOCO Road an easier road to travel quickly with some additional passing lanes, and a safer road, which means extending sidewalks. It means adding a bike lane or finding a parallel road which you can add a bike lane and enabling that. And it means, yes, God help us, adding 1 or 2 well-chosen streetlights along the way so people don't get clobbered every time we try to cross. Okay. So now these are I just tossed out 5 ideas in which if we implemented all of these and we got the developer's support, the developer could get its development, it could make plenty of money, we could keep the lid as much as possible on traffic on Ioko Road, and we could keep Bert Flinn Park what Bert Flinn Park is. So let's enter that into the conversation. Now, okay, we're at that point. Somebody blow me on for 20 minutes. Why not? So, what's next for Save Bert Flinn Park as a group? What's next for us and you folks? How do we mobilize now? The truth is, somebody told me, one of the councilors, city councilors told me earlier today, said, well, you know, it's pretty easy, relatively easy, to get a group to come to a meeting once if they're upset. The hard thing is that the development process is kind of a waiting game, and the developer, right now we're waiting for the developer to put down a specific proposal, because they've been very cagey about what's really going to go into it. We're now waiting. We've heard from Chang that they're going to present within the next week or 2. It's possible they could be presenting now. And when that happens, we as a group, our group is going to take a hard look at it. We're going to meet with our other community groups and assess it. We're going to share with you through the newsletter what it is we're finding. We'd like you to take a look at it and give us your ideas. Okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, the developer Brilliant Circle Group is going to announce a series of public open houses in which they are now, the first open houses they did were kind of open houses to co-opt you. Get you excited about how wonderful it's going to be. They're going to have ballet studios and all sorts of cool things. These next sessions really matter. The public needs to go and give them feedback on what they're proposing. And that means you folks. So we will let you know through the newsletter when those events are, where they are, and then you really need to, as you know, you can't go to all of them, but try to pick 1 or 2 you go to, okay? And share your mind. In the meantime, we're going to continue gaining supporters for the petition, hopefully by the thousands. We're going to continue writing to councilors, and we're going to ask you to continue reaching out to all of them. We're going to each councilor 1 by 1 over the summer. Working with the Pleasant Side Community Association and other groups, we're going to be fleshing out a set of recommendations for City Council. And then towards the end of the summer, we're going to request to get delegations, a formal process of delegation before the council, in which we present both the petition results and our recommendations as a joint community group. We may have one truly giant rally at that point, because it will probably be big enough to do that, to drive home the public's views around this issue. The city, once it gets the proposal in the next week or 2, the city's development office goes through a process, it can take 6 months or longer, of evaluating it and giving a recommendation or a point of view back to the council. Okay? So
Speak up.
Oh. Well, I've got competition. I said it's going to, the development office of the city, once it gets the proposal from the developer, is going to take, could easily take 6 months or more to assess it, and then they'll go back and report to council. During that time, you just need to keep what you're doing to expand commitment to this petition initiative. Read the newsletters. We'll have various activities along the way, but it's going to be kind of dry and climactic for a while. But we're going to need you to come in strong at the end, and there you go. So that's our plan.
Can you stand on a chair?
Well, there is a
You have to stand on a chair.
If I sit, It's a little late for this now. 'Cause I
Yeah.
just got done. So this is a test to see if I can stand on the chair.
Yikes. Careful.
You know, there are insurance issues.
Yeah.
Watch the door open.
Watch the door.
Okay.
Watch the door.
Here's, what time is it? We're hoping, is Rob Vagramoff around yet? Not yet. Rob is one of the city councilors and head of the transportation committee, very apropos here, wanted to come and address the group. I'd say let's hang here for a minute or two and wait for him to come. As I said, what we're going to do as soon as we're done, these doors are going to open, and those of you who can, please come in with us, and we'll have a little chat. So, so while we're waiting for Rob, questions, suggestions, haranguing.
I'd just like to know, is there any city councilors who are opposed to it right now? Have they spoken out?
Opposed to? I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. Yes, there are. We don't know until they see the proposal. You can't really ask them. They're all going to say, look, I have to be fair. I have to see what the developer is really proposing here. He may surprise us all. His people are at every one of our activities. They're on my mailing list. I can always tell because they forward the stuff. And they're paying real close attention. We may find that the proposal is better than we hoped for, which would be great. And so these councilors are probably saying, look, let's take a look. Mr. Cheng has said, and I believe him, he's really sensitive to the ecological issues here and the community concerns about the park. I know he's very concerned because it could be a complete showstopper for the development he represents. And I believe in, my sense is he's sincere in his wish to create a beautiful community that's not gross, it's not some giant condo tower. I don't believe he's going to do that. It's going to be better than that if he got his way. But I think we can help him by insisting on lowest density development. Anyway, so the councilors, they're going to hang back unless certain people show up now and say, yeah.
During your 2 minutes, I was going to actually pose that question. Ask the question, when is the Brilliant Circle Group going to present the proposal?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, she's asked, can we ask when Brilliant Circle Group is going to present a proposal to the city? We could ask, they may say, in the past they said, we don't know. And they may still not exactly know. But they may know, it might even already have happened, and I don't know that they'd be willing to speak on it. So the people who are sympathetic to this concern, to this community, are going to let us know when the proposal is dropped. And then we'll get it as soon as we can, okay? Yeah.
For those of us who've heard very little of what you said,
So sorry.
can you put the most salient points on the website?
Yes, yes,
Particularly next steps.
yes.
So that we know, where we're supposed to show up and what bulldozers we lie in front of.
The answer is yes, and that the minute I get out of Brown Central House stinking drunk, I'm going to the website and I'm going to put this information, okay? So, yeah, for sure. And I also want to put in the ideas that we just talked about for addressing traffic on Idaho Way.
Hunter,
Yes.
Hunter, I think it's very important at the future meetings that the crowd realizes it's important they're here. I know that they're out there taking photographs of all of us and taking photographs of what is who's in the crowd here. And I think it's important that if we aren't here in mass like we are tonight, it's going to be harder to make our point.
Yes. Fair enough. He's saying people are paying careful attention to the crowd here tonight. There's a lot of photography. The press is here. I gave an interview this morning to Global TV, and I know they're here. People on the council have told me that the council is impressed by numbers. That when people show up in mass, it's a real indication that they got off their butts, and they didn't just complain to a neighbor. They made an appointment to make a point. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
Next time, can you make sure you get a portable sound system?
Yes, amen.
Because it's frustrating.
But you know
for
what?
people.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's frustrating for me. I'm going to be forward and say, you know, we just are not allowed to ask them for permission to do the PA. They wouldn't lend the PA system because they're using it for the council, and they wouldn't let me use one. Okay, so next time we'll meet outside when the weather's a little better. We'll just do the PA out there. Okay?
May I come forward?
Yes, you may.
What I'd like to do actually is to save the problem of a sound system. My name is Jerry Moss. I've lived in this community for almost 20 years, and I've used Bert Flinn pretty much every one of those years. It has in fact become, if you will, a lifesaver to me, to get the exercise and the meditation and the kind of thing which a community like Bert Flinn really requires. I have contacted virtually every one of the council members that I know, including the mayor, who never responds to my emails. And I've had very substantive responses. One of the things I think we have to be worried about is that in the 80s and the 90s, there were decisions made for Neighborhood 3 and Neighborhood 4. Those decisions were made then for that purpose at that time. I think we have to be careful to realize that we're some 20 years later, and that in fact, things change. Port Moody has expanded a substantial amount in other parts, and there doesn't seem to me, at least, to be much